Hi, my name is Genesis, and I am from the I Am generation, and I'm going to be talking about my testimony. So growing up, I moved around a lot. I went to a couple different elementary schools and, different places, San Diego, LA, North Carolina. I also grew up in a Christian home, but didn't take it that serious until later on. So I moved around a lot. Didn't really have a good relationship with, my family. We were all kind of at different places in our lives and didn't really have time for each other, just kind of separated and kind of lived our own lives. And elementary school, I got bullied, was really sad and depressed and didn't really have a lot of friends. And then I got a little older in 4th and 5th grade, and I was kind of tired of being bullied, so I became the bully. Me and my best friend, thought we were BA, and we just decided to go and bully other people. And we were just kind of, done being bullied, and we became like these little brats and walked around and bullied other people. And so that was elementary. When I got older into middle school, my mom sat me down and, was talking to me about God. And, I was thinking, okay, I can get my life together, I'll stop cussing, stop bullying people, and, I'll give my life to God. So I did. And that was, middle school, kind of just not cussing, but that was pretty much it. Didn't really know what it was to live my life for God, and was pretty, mediocre throughout elementary and middle school. When I got into 8th grade, that was kind of I was I'm not gonna really take God serious. I just kind of went off and did my own thing, started rebelling, and started flirting with guys that are way older, getting myself into really bad situations with the wrong people at the wrong time. I never did drugs or alcohol or anything like that, but I was around it, and I am very surprised at how I said no and actually got myself out of that, because some of that stuff is really scary. I would text and flirt with guys that are way older, meet people from online and go meet up with them with my friends. Some of that stuff, God was really protecting me, because if not, I would have ended up in some bad situations. So that was middle school, just hanging out with the wrong friends and stuff like that. During the same time, my older sister Bliss got sick. That was kind of a turning point in our family. It was, the pressure was really on, because the atmosphere in the house changed. It was really, sad and depressing and quiet, and it was nobody knew what to do with the pressure. So we all kind of just, we didn't have a relationship with each other. We tried, but it was really weird. Nobody knew what to do, because she was sick and the doctors didn't know what to do. They didn't know what it was, and they were predicting that she was going to die. And so she was in high school at that time, and she dropped out of high school when she got sick. She pretty much lost everything, didn't have friends, dropped out of school and all that. So that was kind of when me and her started building our relationship with each other. And that's when she got saved. And I was kind of doing my own thing. And when my sister got saved, she started talking to me about God. And that's when God started to come back into my life. And I thought it was really cool how she was really trusting in God, even though she didn't know where she was going to go, and didn't even know she was going to live till the next year. And that showed a lot of faith to me, and that really stood out. So she started talking to me about God, and I remember one time she just went to a prayer meeting, and then the next morning she woke up and she was healed, and she's never had that pain ever since then. And when she started talking to me about God and this miracle that God did in her life, she started going to all these camps, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna go to one of these camps. So, and I was really nervous, because I've never been to a camp, didn't know how it was gonna be, didn't know if people were gonna judge me, I wasn't gonna fit in, I didn't know anyone. But, it turned out really, really well, because one of the last nights we were there, everybody was in worship. We're gonna be in worship for a while. That's what they said. And so everyone was just standing there, and I was just like standing there all awkward, and everybody else was like in worship, and I didn't know what else to do. I was just like kind of standing there. And then I remember the worship leader was saying, close your eyes. Like, everyone in here, just close your eyes, focus your eyes on God. So I did. I closed my eyes, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm content with being right here. But God was still talking to my heart, and it was like this battle going on inside my heart and for my heart. And the worship leader was saying, like, raise your hand, raise your hand. And I was like, why? Like, that's weird. I don't need to do that. It's okay. I'll just close my eyes. And so I just, really, really felt God telling me, like, raise your hand, raise your hand. And I didn't know why. I was like, what does that even mean? But I still felt like, like, don't do it, people are looking, that's weird. So when I finally did, I finally raised my hand, I instantly just started bawling. And there was such like a relief that came over me and a peace that I've never felt before. And that was when I came into the presence of God, and God gave me that peace and showed me hope and showed me love that I've never felt before. And that was the first time that I had my encounter with God, that moment with God when I met God. And it completely changed my life at that moment, because I didn't have to live in the shame and the guilt that I was stuck in, that Satan was always talking to me like in my ear. Now I could hear God's voice and hear how he talks to me and hear how he sees me, and him talking to me and us having a relationship. And that's where it all began, is where my relationship started with him, was when I had that encounter with him. So after that, I was pretty on fire for God for like a week. And then slowly but surely went back to what I always used to do. Texting guys, flirting, teasing them, and leading them on, and being really mediocre and half-hearted. And that's not what God wants. God wants your full heart. And I didn't know what commitment was. So then I heard a message about praying a scary prayer, and it was really talking about you giving your life to God and really stepping out in that faith and making your faith grow. And that's when a mission trip was presented to me. And before then, I always grew up with really bad insecurity, and I didn't like anything about myself. I didn't like anything about my body, my face. I couldn't find one thing that I loved, and it was a really big issue, and it really hindered me from a lot of things. So I went on this mission trip. I built relationships. I met a lot of new people, and God was really opening up my eyes to like everything, just how privileged we are in America, and and just like all these things. And so I remember just one time I was sitting down, and this guy was giving a message in the Philippines, and God just told me to start looking at myself and looking at my hands and my arms and my body, and look at how beautiful he actually made me. And I saw for the first time how he saw me, because every other time it was just kind of I was just blinded by everything that was said to me that added to my insecurity, and all that just kind of just disappeared, and I saw myself for who I am and how God sees me with clarity. And I also, on the mission trip, me and my cousin, we sang these 2 worship songs, and before I went, I knew that I was going to be singing in front of a couple thousand people, and that was really big, because I've never even sang in front of people before. Like, before that time, I never sang in front of people. So it was a huge thing. Me and my cousin were practicing and everything, and we got to sing and play the guitar in front of all these people at this festival. And it was amazing how God used us and used me and showed me this is what I'm gonna do. This is my purpose, is to worship and lead people into worship. And that was the start of it. And during that mission trip, that was when me and God's relationship was actually real. I wasn't back and forth how I was. This is a commitment now. It's a relationship. You have to have conversation. It's not just, camp and then go back to your old ways. It's a commitment. And so when I got back, that was when I really, committed to God, and I obeyed God, and I surrendered my life to him. And that's when he opened all those doors. He, showed me that I can have the strength to get involved with worship team and start teaching and start serving and really serving God, but also serving others, that I'm not supposed to do this alone, and neither are you. We're supposed to do this together in a community with God's love. We're supposed to receive God's love like a river and give it to other people. We're not supposed to live this life on our own. And that's what I've really learned, and that's what God has really shown me, that we don't have to do this on our own, that we can have God's help, and that we can overcome with God. So I hope you're encouraged by this, and thank you for watching.